Welcome, welcome. We're back with another episode of the Just No BS podcast. I'm your boy John. I got my boy Dev to the right. And then we got Caleb in the right hand corner as well here. It's honestly been almost a month, but when you get hit with essentially two hurricanes, it just screws up everyone's lives a little bit. So we're going to kind of chill out this episode, catch up on some stuff, talk to your boys, and just kick it a little bit. So this week we're just going to be talking about what's been in the news and a little bit of nostalgia. That being said, how y'all good from the hurricane? Like y'all, everyone's around. I know you were in one of those areas, Devin. I was in a different area that got nailed too. So, how are you doing, Devin?
So far doing well.
Devin?
Fortunately, my area, specifically my neighborhood, didn't get hit very hard. Hello? Oh,
We got hit with the ghost
am I back
machine.
up?
You're good.
Hello?
Keep going.
Wait, there we go. Am I good now?
Look at that. The hurricanes are still hitting us.
All right. Can you hear me clearly now?
No, you're good.
Okay,
You're
cool.
good.
So yeah, what I was saying with that was, fortunately, my neighborhood got through it pretty well. We were only out of power for a few hours, but there were definitely some other areas nearby that got pretty hit. I think that there were some places, particularly some of the customers that I work with, who they were out for a good week and a half. So, and they're still trying to recover and put it together. And my job has also been sending me to other areas nearby different cities to kind of help out with that because people are out of jobs and so on and so forth. So we're trying to help with the recovery effort and also help them get set up with things.
Yeah, I feel you. What about you, Caleb? I know you're a little north of us, so it probably didn't hit y'all that bad, but
Yeah, no, we're pretty good. It would just be weird intermediate points in time to where it would be like everything would just slow down or shut off. I think it was like a couple of days ago where um I was up because I've just been up. I'll be up at like 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Um and I'm just sitting there laying on my back on the phone. And then it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like God's coming back. It'll just be like, boom, in the middle of the night. It's like, damn. And everything shuts off. Like the Wi-Fi disconnects. Like I have chargers that have lights on the
yeah.
the dock part of it. And then everything in the house, all of the chargers that have lights on them turned yellow and started blinking. I was like, okay, so it's over. I'm dead. I'm dead. That's what's happening now. We just have to accept it. And then a couple of minutes, everything resets. Like the lights flash on really quick. But again, I know we don't get into geopolitics and stuff like that here too much, but it's like, hey man, this is the only place that we have. We should take care of the earth, y'all.
Big
Respectfully.
facts.
Because you getting slammed with two apocalyptic storms back to back is a pause. You need to take a pause for the cause, respectfully, at some point, and think about what's going on and how can you fix it, because it's not normal, y'all. And maybe this is just me. Maybe y'all will take it serious once it starts. Once them hurricanes start hitting the Northeast, like the DC, Maryland, New York. That maybe once y'all start experiencing these on the regular, maybe y'all start doing something about it.
Yeah, because there was that one last year that curved up and hit the the southeast end of Virginia almost, and I was just like,
and you saw everybody started caring at that point. Everybody was like, okay, yeah, global warming. It's like, these hurricanes are no joke.
and my thing that always tripped me up is even if you don't fully believe in the whole global warming, I don't know why you wouldn't, but even if you didn't believe that, let's just use basic 3-year-old logic. If you got less polar ice caps, more water. When a storm's got more water, it's just bigger and stronger. Why are we like?
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. I'm like, I don't see how y'all don't correlate this. And just because we have a winter doesn't mean that the general Earth ain't getting warmer. Like that doesn't.
What? You mean to tell me that, global warming doesn't mean that it's just warm everywhere?
Exactly. And thank you for that. Because you talked me into that. Jason, that was one topic that I wish I had put on the docket. But again, we don't get into like geopolitics like that here. But
or at least we're gonna have to think about it if we're gonna, talk about it more deeply. On a chill day, not so much, but like we gotta do some research if we're going to talk geopolitics here.
There was a gentleman who he does my brain is working faster than my mouth. He essentially does cinema sins to cinema sins, where he'll like go pull up a thing of cinema sins and like go and listen.
Are you talking about the Birdman or GXE?
The Birdman.
I love
Birdman.
I love Birdman. He just be killing them.
He did a joint where I just listened to it today. Where he
is it one of his debunking videos?
Yeah, a flat earth.
Yeah, those videos kill me because he just be hitting them with like black logic, not even just regular logic, just like the logic a black person would use.
Yeah, and he was doing that to Lord Jamar, who's like one of those. He's a respected figure in hip hop. I'll be respectful. He is a respected figure in hip hop. And he was up there, like Lord Jamar, for those who don't know. He's from New York. He's a 5%er. So like a lot of 5%ers feel as though they possess hidden knowledge that only 5% of the world is ready to understand. The rest of the 95% is lost. So he's up there like, yeah, why do y'all think they won't let us go up there into the atmosphere and see the world? You know what I'm saying? Because it's flat. That's why. And it's like, my brother in Christ. My brother in Christ. That's not the okay.
The reason we can't go up there is because we all broke. If your name is, if your name is Elon Musk or Amazon bro, Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos?
You can go up there anytime you want. Jeff Bezos went up there in a penis rocket. I'm just saying.
Like SpaceX is not a government thing. It's a private company. And they're just doing shit. Like, yeah, you can do it if you have the money, but you don't. You see what I'm saying? Like, the richest person in hip hop can't build a fucking can't build a rocket and put it in space, bro. It's gonna take you a couple billion. Never mind. My bad. We're getting.
But no, that's the point. Like these are the kind of logic. Like if you use the thing about some of these like conspiracy theorist people is that it's not even like scientific logic that kills what y'all say. It's the basic logic. These people, this is going to solidify my point before we talk about some game stuff, but these people constantly use the word atmosphere to talk about the planet, but the planet is flat. But how can something have an atmosphere if the planet is flat? A sphere means a dinner ball.
Well, you see, what had happened was, and that's what happened.
See, Devin was about to hit us with that. You see what happened was someone took a big press, right, and turned it into a smash burger. It was a ball. Now it's no, but I can't. But yeah, nah. Yeah, so in other words, kids, the Earth is
Don't
a
do
ball.
drugs.
That too. But yes, the Earth is a ball. But honestly, with this time that I've kind of had because of all this hurricane nonsense and whatnot, I personally had the time to finally rebeat Persona 3 Reload. Like that was fun. I started playing Metaphor ReFantasio. Yes, I went from one 90-hour game to another 90-hour game. And I don't know where I'm going to find the time, but We're gonna figure it out.
See, I wanted to go and get the game, but my backlog is screaming at me like, "No, don't add another one just yet. Finish a damn game, please."
I mean, that was luckily for me. Persona 3 was the end of my backlog. There are a few games I haven't touched because I didn't plan on playing them right away, but yeah, no, the Persona 3 was the end of my backlog, so I finally got caught up. Just add another one to the game. Just slide another one right back in. So yeah. What have y'all been doing with this time we've had off here?
Cal, you go ahead first.
So Baldur's Gate has opened up the mod manager for console. I'm gonna be honest. I've been playing a lot of like college football. I'm at year 16 out of my 30-year career as a coach. Um, I'm
What's the
coaching
record?
USF. What's my record, Jay? So I haven't lost the game in
Oh, so you
12
just out
years.
here on like a 15 championship streak?
Yeah, like because once I'm one of those people to where it's like if you let me figure out the pattern, I'm exploiting it at all times.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I figure out like, okay, it's first and 10, your quarterback isn't that great, he's a backup, we're blitzing on first down. Because you have to run the ball to like get your people comfortable. Like, and then once we sack you, boom, it's 2nd and 15. You have to pass it. Now we're dropping people back. Boom. Last year, not actually last year,
In
my
the game.
last year playing, we forced 65 turnovers. I don't think y'all know how much that is in a 15 game season. Like, you typically, like, a good defense probably gets like 2 interceptions and a fumble per game. We got almost 70 turnovers. My guy. I'm like that. I'm like that playing this game. But Baldur's Gate had like a bunch of mods. I'm a fiend for D&D. So like any iteration of D&D I've been playing. So whether it's this, whether it's dang, I forget the
Pathfinder?
You said what?
Is it Pathfinder?
No. No. I tried to play Pathfinder. That was a little bit too dense for me. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, the Pathfinder games can be like that isometric design is already rough for like people that aren't used to it, and then like Pathfinder in particular, they got to take their game and dumb down it a little bit and just make it a little more accessible. But yeah,
like
just a
streamline
little bit.
certain things like that. Wasteland isn't necessarily D&D. It is like turn-based situations. That's been cool. And it's not a game that I've been involved with. It's more so like a motivational thing. It's called Habitica, if I remember correctly. So where it essentially like you can set up chores that you need to do or like things that you need to do every day for yourself, like in real life, to where like I'm currently looking for a new job. I need to clean. I need to look for a new apartment. I need to be reading every day. And you set it up and it designs it as side quests. And like as you accomplish those goals, you can select it. It gives you points. You can level up your character. You can get pets, stuff like that. So it's not an actual game, but like that's been one of the things also that's been helping me stay on track, be productive, and not just kind of, you know what I'm saying, just veg out every single day for the most part.
I feel you. I gotta look at my phone because I saved it, but like I actually saw a language learning app that's very similar, like gamified learning a language. So
Mm-hmm.
like on one of my just real streams, I just saw the ad for it. I'm like, I might have to look into this because like I do want to learn some basic Japanese one of these days, but like I mean outside of just learning stuff you learn from anime, but
Mm.
yeah, like it was interesting. Like more and more apps are doing this thing where they gamify it. There's one that gamifies coding now too. Like it makes it an RPG. So like
I actually tried that one last weekend, actually.
hmm.
So it's actually pretty neat. I like it. I'm trying to decide if I want to pull the trigger on it and actually pay for like the rest of it and so on and so forth. But it gives you enough stuff for free to give it a try and see if it's something that you want to get into. I've been using it to learn like the basics of Python. So
Nice. Well, outside of Python, what have you been up to these last, I don't know, 3 weeks?
oof. So in this particular case, because of the type of job that I have, I've been pretty much working all the time, trying to keep up with like all the damage that the hurricanes have caused and working different areas. So outside of Baldur's Gate, which again with those mods, I've been loving it. Um, Speaking of, I restarted my playthrough of Baldur's Gate again. And now I'm playing a Blood Mage, now one of the new classes that were made. And basically I'm playing a female Vlad the Impaler, just running through places like an absolute menace.
This foolishness.
With a couple other mods where I'm jumping like the over the full distance that you can normally jump. My strength is also at like a 30 right now, so my jump is like halfway across a battle map. And then every time I kill something, I get an extra attack on top of like doing other things, give me another extra attack. So I'm literally just jump over with this giant greatsword, hit one thing, it dies, and I then get like my full movement back. So then I jump again to another area, smack something else. Cool, that's dead. Cool, I'm gonna turn into like a cloud of bats and fly over to this other enemy, smack them real quick. All right, I'm done. And I'm like, half
Where'd
the field
everybody
is
go?
dead. Like half the field is dead, and I only took one turn. What do
Where'd
you
everybody
mean?
go?
But outside of that, I did recently watch the new My Hero Academia movie. So got a chance to go with someone there, watch that. Definitely enjoyed it. Of the 4 movies that they've done, I would definitely put it at second.
Dang, it's really been 4 movies? Jeez,
Yep.
man.
This one really felt like they wanted to go and put it into the series, but they didn't want to do like a filler set of episodes. So they just said, oh, hey, let's make this something where it fits perfectly with what's going on. Sorry. But doesn't take away anything where you're like, all right, let's go ahead and move on. I want to get to what I saw in the manga. Like, this was good. It was good, clean fun, Definitely like the villain there. John, I think that the way that you like certain villains and not necessarily having like some crazy sad backstory where you're supposed to kind of feel for them, they kind of did away with that one for this guy.
Because not
And
everyone needs a crazy backstory. Like sometimes the dude is just evil, and you got to be good enough to beat the evil. Like it's okay sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
so, yeah, overall, I think they did good with it.
I'll be honest, Devin, with the Baldur's Gate mod, I have obviously like quality of life mods that are in my new playthrough, like improved UI, all that fun stuff.
Right.
But there's a mod in there that I saw somebody else play with, and I'm like, this is going to be the closest that I get to being a DM, and it's essentially like a cheaters mod. That's literally what it is. Like you get like a cheater's ring to where you can just set all of your scores to 20. You can be impervious to damage. You have like 200 added on whatever attack that you want. You can have like just stupid stuff. In that first real enemy that you have on the Nautiloid ship, the demon guy with the flaming sword, I couldn't beat him the first 2 times that I played through because it was like, again, early rogue or what did I do? What did I do? It was a rogue and then a dang, what was the other one? It was like an ambusher. Dread ambusher was the subclass. Dang, I forgot what that was. I think it was like a ranger or something. And you just don't have the damage output like as a rogue starting off.
Right.
This time though, I had that cheater ring on and I saw him fighting and I was like, you know what? Fuck you. That's how we're carrying it now. And I just hit him with a it was an Eldritch Blast that was just an insta kill. Like that's literally the spell definition on the cheat. It was like you can hit 6 targets. It's an insta kill for any enemy. Like it didn't say up to level blah 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 blah. It's an insta kill. And I let him fight for a second, and I was like, let's see how good you are. And I hit him with 3 of those bad boys. Devin, the first one turned this motherfucker to ash. And that's when I knew I was like, I can never be a DM. Because this power of God that I have right now, like, don't play with me, bro. Just don't leave me alone. Because I can get very creative with how bad we can make this for you. And I was like, yeah, you don't need to be a DM. You're a maniac.
Ironically enough, what you just said there reminds me of something I did during our little like mini break here. I watched that like American Crime Story impeachment thing and like the Bill Clinton like dramatization shit that they had on like TNT. It's on Hulu, so I watched that shit. I was like, bro, one, we were all kids at that point, so we didn't really know what was going on. But now it's a dramatization, so I'm not going to say it's 100% fact. That would be stupid. But even if 50% of what actually happened was true, this shit was wild and would never have happened in today's day and age.
AKA Diddy. Because the more shit comes out on this man, I'm looking at the docket and I'm like, damn, this is crazy. He's really going away for a long time. And I leave it, and then they're like, breaking. 6 new lawsuits have come out against Diddy. And it's like Macy's is apologizing. They're like, we're so sorry that we aided this man. It's like, where the fuck did Macy's come from? Why is a company apologizing for the debauchery of this man? And then you read it and it's like, oh. Yeah.
And like it was crazy because like they because while we were gone, it was like the mayor of New York City. He got hit with stuff too, and he's been involved with Diddy. He gave him the key to the city. He's like, yo, what are y'all doing? But yeah, no, I was sitting there watching this thing. Like I watched it in like 3 days because I was just like, each episode is a legit hour, by the way. It was like 12 episodes. So I watched this thing in like 3 days. I was just like, after the first 3, I was like, wait a minute. This guy is playing mind games on these women. And like, the more I watched it, the more I realized that everyone is pitiful in one way or another. The lady that that was recording Monica Lewinsky and then released the tapes, pitiful. Monica Lewinsky being brainwashed, but having a history of like being screwing with older people. Like, just again, I don't know if all of these things are true. I was like 3 when the shit happened, so we're just gonna put that to the side. But like, pitiful. Bill Clinton surrounded by people thinking he's gonna get away with this. Pitiful. Hillary for sticking around because of politics. Pitiful. Like, no one is good in this situation.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But yeah, no, like if y'all have some time, watch it because it's just like, yo, this is crazy.
See, part of me wants to watch it because I was old enough at the time to have a general idea of what was going on. Because it was happening like around 98, 99.
Yeah, I was like 5 or 6, so like you would, as a kid that young, you would hear stuff, but you wouldn't understand what the hell was going on. So it's like whatever. But
yeah, it was like okay, I'm just old enough to kind of start putting it together, but not old enough to get like everything.
Context.
Yeah, but I was also old enough where it's like, oh, hey, it's recent. So then once I was old enough to figure it all out, I'm like, oh, okay. So I kind of want to watch it to go and see just how close it is to what I understood around that time. But part of me doesn't want to watch it because it's something that they keep bringing up over and over.
Like I said, I would say watch it for like the entertainment value. Like I didn't even think about the politics when I was watching it. I was just sitting there watching it like it was a drama show. I had like my popcorn. I was just sitting there watching like it was a movie. Like, and every time you think someone is about to do something like correct or morally right, bam, there's just something that's just like, oh, the FBI was messing up. Like they were like semi-detaining her without officially arresting her, so they wouldn't let her get a lawyer. But it's just like, y'all are breaking the law. You need to give her a lawyer.
Yeah, I was a kid too, and I remember that was in that era, that was the first time that I heard the word fellatio, and I was like, I thought it was just a Hispanic dude as a kid. Like, it's messed up, but like as a small kid, you hear the word fellatio, and it's like, oh, who's fellatio? Like,
Oh man, I was just talking to my bro Fellatio over here.
yeah, like it sounds like a name. Like, it's crazy. But it's like, okay, I don't know who Fellatio is, but Monica knows him apparently. But like, yeah, I'll probably check it out. I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably check it out.
Like it again, each episode is a legit hour, but like it, I will say like the first episode and a half are like super slow, but then after that first episode and a half, they're just every little thing is just like it's like, bro, especially like it just makes me realize the motivations behind everyone in that regard is just it's just sad and pathetic. That's the word I was thinking every time I was watching it. Like freaking I did not realize what was her name, Laura Berbert. She was like the Fox News lady, that white lady.
Mm-hmm.
She got her major start because she helped break the news on part of on the Clinton thing, and that's how she became the Fox News lady. I'm like, this is pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking I forgot
that whole case started careers.
Yeah. Monica Lewinsky was they built Fox News off the Bill Clinton phase. I was just like, damn. Like obviously I just remember Fox News being a thing, but like y'all literally built it off getting this man impeached. Like and like they were trying to hit Bill Clinton with shit even before that. And it's just like they just found the one thing that would put the nail in the wall. And it was just like, and Monica Lewinsky wasn't even going to like rat on this man until like he didn't get her a job. I was just like, y'all are just pathetic across the board. Like,
and I remember the first time. I'm gonna be honest. These two gentlemen to my right, they are nice, wholesome people. They are not body shaming people. They are not disrespectful people. I'm a body shamer. I'm a victim blamer. That's who I am. Hearing this woman's name for as long as I heard her, I was like thinking, this is the most powerful person in the Western Hemisphere. This is going to be a bad bitch. That's what my brain was thinking. And when I finally saw Monica Lewinsky, I'm like, Bill.
Terrible.
Bill. Word.
Horrible.
This is terrible. You're a president. You could have imported foreign pussy. You could have.
You are horrible.
You could have. You could have had them. You could have gave them a fake designation like International Magistrate of Foreign Relations. Give them a fake title and just crack that bad young lady. But when you see Monica Lewinsky, it's like,
yo, again, if this drama is true, the only reason like it went to hell in the handbasket because literally. So the timeline of events is that they did their thing because she was an intern during the government shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
Government comes back. She has to go basically to get distance. He puts her in the Department of Defense as some kind of liaison or something. Like they just move her position after she's finished interning. So she's not around him. But she's constantly like, you promised me a job that I could come back eventually. You're telling me if you had just gotten this chick a job, you could have avoided a whole impeachment? Like, pathetic. Like, every domino of things, I'm just like, y'all, this whole situation is just pathetic. It's a great drama show, but it is pathetic. This lady's been recording you for months. You never heard the click in the background. This is the 90s. This ain't 2010. This is not NSA technology. This is, I put in the tape recorder, hit record. Like...
Did we learn nothing from Watergate?
That's what I'm saying. And none of the president. That's rude. I don't give a fuck. Let me say it. None of the presidents that we've seen within the past 50 years, utmost respect, we love you, Michelle Obama. We love you. None of them have bad bitch scandals. Like, none of them have, like, scandals with bad bitches. Even Trump, his wife looks like a gift Yankee. She does.
This man...
This man pulled out a Baldur's Gate.
Wait a minute. I need you to roll that back real quick.
She does. She looks like a distant cousin of Lazelle. Like,
Uh,
Oh,
I don't. For those who don't know, we were talking about Baldur's Gate. Just type in Baldur's Gate GITH. That's it. Just type in GIF and look at what they
look,
look like. Don't
look. I'm just gonna go and say put safe search on ahead of time, or make sure you're not at work.
Oh yeah, don't do this at work because Rule 30
we do not condone getting fired. Get your bag. Do not do this at work.
brings us to our sponsor today, NordVPN.
We also do not have a sponsor at this moment. Just clarifying that for legal reasons.
But if you want to, just hit us up.
But no, my bad.
No, you're good. But this is like I was watching this and I was just like, what? Who? What? I literally was just like, I would constantly be like, man, I remember the rumblings as a kid. Like you would hear people, you would hear random stuff on the news, you would hear the whispers. Because again, in the 90s, things were different. You couldn't just get a rumor popping like that. Even with the internet, it wasn't until like the end of his term when he got impeached that the internet could actually pop off like that. Uh-oh, did we lose Devin?
I think he needs to step away for a second.
Yep, just gotta step away just for 1 sec.
No problem. But yeah, no, like it's just you couldn't pop off like that, and like it also kind of brings me to why I'm kind of titling this episode "Nostalgia in the News" because like we're just kind of running it back now. Like we're trying to run back those times, and we in a different context. It don't work like that, but I was just watching that show, like, damn, like 30 years of hindsight later, like no one is running like that. I mean, you got the dude after Obama just saying whatever the heck he wants and doing whatever the heck he wants, and no one seems to care. But Bill Clinton effectively jizzed in someone's face, and now that man got impeached. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, we need some good affairs from our presidents. I'm not gonna hold you. Like at this point, that's what we need. Like if Kamala gets in there, Kamala, you need to have an affair with my man's Idris Elba. Just do it. Do it.
Why Idris?
Because Idris is like one of the black guys to where it's like he's not going to say anything. You see what I'm saying? Like Kamala would say something. He just gives off the vibe of like, my dear, like I won't tell the bras in him. Like it's really just between you and I. You see what I'm saying? Cool. Find an Idris. Or, ironically enough, you want to go on the young side? Damn son Idris, the young brother from Snowfall. Get a foreign black. Don't do it here. Because I feel in my heart of hearts, Kamala would be stupid enough to have an affair with a motherfucker like Plies, and Plies would just be on Twitter being like, you know what I'm saying? Like I told Kamala, like, buy that pussy and over off. Plies, shut up. Shut up. You're making this and like you're that close to power. Give a good affair. Do something. You see what I'm saying? Like,
nah, man. If we're gonna have like scandals, we just need to have a scandal that causes something good to happen. Just that's how bad it is. Like she already said she's got a gun. Get a scandal popping off with her Glock, and next thing you know, we got gun control. Like something.
having the first female president catch a body on a home invasion, fire. That would be fire.
Yo. I'm not out here saying that I want that to happen, but not to lie, if I saw that on the news, I'd be like, please tell me more. Wait, seriously, what happened?
If she were to become president, right, and she popped off someone with her Glock, and next thing you know, the Republicans would be like, oh, we need stronger gun laws. We need this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. And then be like, oh, no. When it happens to be a black person who sits in the White House, now y'all want to do something about the guns.
Or like if somebody tried to do, I think it was... because there have been numerous like historical attempts on presidents. I think Ronald Reagan was the person where they got up close, and tried to get him. And like if she's like on doing something and she's walking out shaking hands, kissing babies. I forgot who said it, who had the Freudian slip, shaking babies and kissing hands. I love that too. And somebody tries to like hit her up close, and instead of the Secret Service catching it, she just and hit somebody on a step back and drops him. Oh, that's the forever president. I don't care. You caught a body on national TV. That's hey, I support it.
And it would be funny too. Like I know it would probably never happen, but if that happened and you just hear "What up, nigga?" and she said that, I'll be like,
bitch, like,
"Oh, the politician was really good." The politician disappear. I'll be like, "Oh, okay, hold up.
Yes.
Is she black now for y'all?" Like, oh,
We are.
oh man. But yeah, no, like I was saying though, like everything now is just like I know this is a bit of a sequitur, but not really. It's like I bring up the '90s because everything just seems to be running back now, like everything. So like my like 3-body breakdown for this week is why are we just re-rolling the hits? Like we always re-roll the hits, but like it feels like we really re-roll the hits. Like Bad Boys, 4 came out like a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
After the other one, shoot, RDJ's back with the MCU. Like we got Disney's rolling live actions left and right of stuff we've already seen. I mean, the Lilo and Stitch one is coming out like next year, I think. Like, what are we doing?
I think a lot of that is rooted in Hollywood is like really the same. We were joking about Diddy earlier, like, you know what I'm saying? Like hearing about that. And then the whole Drake and Kendrick thing as well kind of shows you when you try and bring in new aspects into any creative space, there is a risk there because it's an unproven, unsubstantiated idea, concept, artist. So you run the risk of having unprecedented failures as well. And like in big business like Hollywood, like the music industry, even in the book side of things, like when you
Video
do
games.
that, they don't really know how to forecast for the financial fallout that can possibly happen. So I feel like in a lot of ways, people are trying to be as safe as possible and make as much money as they can being safe. For instance, like Jonathan Majors was supposed to be the new hedge villain for the MCU for the coming years. And then it's like, all right, cool. Like he's a guy, he's a safe gentleman. Even when he was running around making his waves in Hollywood and things like that, he had like a thing that like if you know, he had a cup with him that he would take everywhere with him. And he would pour his own drinks. Obviously, that makes a lot more sense now that we have like Cosby's case, R. Kelly's case, not Bill, I was going to say Bill Clinton, Diddy's case, Weinstein, Epstein. Like, that makes much more sense why you would carry a cup with you and be like, I'm going to pour my drink in here. You're not going to give me a drink. And it's like, oh, this seems like a safe guy. And then his fallout happens. And it's like, hey, they told you in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, leave these white bitches alone. Respectfully. Excuse my French. If you're a black guy trying to get in there, if you don't already have a partner, leave them white bitches alone. It is what it is. I'll be honest with you.
This is where I like to call the Fort Knox protocol. Devin knows what I'm talking about. But there's I called it the Fort Knox protocol because as a black man, there's a barrier and then like laser fencing and then additional protection and then a moat with sharks around me and like in my life I have never dated a white girl because it's just like I don't want these problems. I really don't. Just
no. So like that's to answer your question. Like you see the fallout that Jonathan Majors created because he was Kang, and we were all waiting for the Kang spin out. We just had Thanos. Thanos was the villain for like 10 years, correct me if I'm wrong. Like he's had end credits and things like that, and they're like building the lore for him, and then boom, Infinity Wars, Endgame, and it's like, this is the guy. Cool. They were positioning him to do that. Just like in light of the Kendrick and Drake thing, UMG gave Drake $500 million before the beef. You see what I'm saying? So that was their Jonathan Majors. And then now you look a couple of months after that, it's like the world is chanting a song about him being a pedophile. You see what I'm saying? How that's like, the new world is shaking a lot of things to their foundation. So I think that's why people are like rolling back the hits because it's a safe thing. It's like, okay, we know XYZ. Like that's why they still do Terminator movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. because it's like, we know who this guy is. He's been here for 40 years. We can trust this. Like, what's my man? Not my man's. Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal's been putting out shit movies for the better part of 20 years at this point. But it's
like his first couple were hits, but like, yeah, he's been
yeah,
tanking.
But they know that they would at least get back what they put in, though. That's a very hard thing to like forecast nowadays, because you don't know. You invest in a guy and you like his personality and everything, and it comes out he has 16 terabytes of CP on his computer. It's like, how the fuck 16 terabytes? What? Nigga, what did you? And now
What are you doing?
like, I don't even have 16 terabytes of shit that I love. Like, where did you find the time? Like,
Bro, no, it makes sense because was it the Gladiator 2 with Denzel coming out? Bro, he doesn't even have a Roman accent. He's just talking like Denzel, and people still can go see that movie.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they tried it with Joker as well. That's a more recent property, but like the iconography of Joker is old. You see what I'm saying? But that's a very safe bet to do. But again, that like they want safe. They don't want creative, like new creative ventures, because they don't know who's on the other side of that venture, in my opinion. But my bad. I kind of isolate that devil.
No, facts. Because they got that Lion King Scar movie coming. Like they're working on that. They're dropping that Wicked movie later in the month. That's like retelling the Wicked Witch of the West story.
Okay.
Yep.
With like Oz and stuff. I mean, it's a musical, and both they got Ariana Grande and I always forget that black lady's name, but that movie's gonna slap because the music is probably gonna be fantastic. So,
I mean,
Michelle
the play
Yeoh,
itself was good. So
yeah, based on the play, and I mean, Michelle Yeoh is Michelle Yeoh, so you know, good stuff there. But
Sure.
it's just gotta play the hits. What you got?
So, I definitely agree when it comes to the safe pick. I think that's one of the aspects that I kind of go into why they keep going with all the good old kind of ideas and movies and so on and so forth. I think another part of it is the fact that they know that nostalgia sells. Like, it is very easy to, get into that feeling of like, oh, hey, I remember seeing this movie when I was a kid or when I was a teenager or a young adult, so on and so forth. Oh, they made a sequel to this. I definitely want to see it, just even if it's just out of curiosity. Congratulations, you've already got that sale. It could be an absolutely terrible movie, just like what you're talking about with like the Steven Seagal movies. Doesn't matter. It's that nostalgia that brings them into the theaters. So they know that it's going to be easy money there. And then there's also the whole situation with the Writers Guild of America strike that took place in 2023. Like, that's, I think, what forced Hollywood to go and say, look, we've either got to give in to the what I think were rightful demands, or we've got to figure out some other way around that. And I think that a lot of this is them just saying, okay, we already have the story kind of built. We just need like a couple tweaks here or there and call it something new.
Get a couple quick hitters, make some money.
Yeah, and call it a day until, the writers are back. And that's what they were kind of banking on, like, oh, hey, we could wait this out. They've realized that they only have so much content. And I think that's why, they eventually gave into the strike. But I think that was part of the plan. They were just going to say, hey, we've got plenty of things that we can just respin and call it a day and make a buck.
You know what they tried to respin and didn't make a buck? Until Dawn. That is a video game from the PlayStation 3 era. They tried to remaster for PlayStation 5, and it did basically the goose egg. Like, it did. The only thing worse was Concord. So,
who?
Exactly. And video games are doing the same thing. We're getting the Horizon Zero Dawn remastered. Who asked for that? Nobody. Like,
even
people
to the anti of that. Like, there was the I don't think it was Scorsese's film. I forget the gentleman's name, the director who just did Megalopolis.
Oh yeah, that's not Scorsese. That's
Tarkovsky.
Yeah.
I mean,
no. I think I'm thinking of the guy who made Primal.
But
I'm gonna look up the director right now.
Yeah,
keep going.
But that was like a new idea.
Ford Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola.
Or Coppola. So like he had been shopping that idea for 40 years, like going to every studio imaginable, and they're like, no, we're not going to fund this, because even back then, like they had their hits that they were doing. You see what I'm saying? So like, because mind you, Hollywood's first movie, like widespread movie, was The Birth of a Nation, which is extremely racist, and that showed you the foundation of where these things were going to go. Do a quick search of that and see the history of that and look at that movie. So they showed you where that was, and then everything else kind of came from that. And you have like a history of like weird racist movies. That's why certain things Disney has to put that little buffer announcement at the start of some of their old films, where it's like, hey, these are old beliefs and old adages and certain depictions and characters of people that we don't necessarily agree with. It's just a part of history. Hope you enjoy. Because Hollywood was rooted in racism. It just is what it is. But he, long story short, he was walking around for 40 years trying to get people to invest in it. They're like, no. And it took him enough time to like build his catalog, build up his bank account. He's like, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And then it came out. He put like, I forget, the budget was insane. It was like 9 figures that he put into the movie. And then he had Kylo Ren as the lead. I forget the guy's actual name.
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver, thank you. He had Adam Driver as the lead, and the movie didn't do shit. Like
I also heard that I didn't look into the plot either, but I also heard that movie was like low key ridiculous, like borderline racist and caste system, and I would have to look into the plot. I wasn't interested at all when I saw any of the trailers, so it didn't do anything for me. But like, I heard that movie also had like low key terrible connotations, but I would have to do my research on that to be 100%.
Yeah, but again, you see how it took him 40 years to do that, but that was his concept in his mind was a new concept, and he put almost $1 billion into it, and nobody saw it. You see what I'm saying? Like that's to a studio, that's terrifying, bro. Like that's you see, they did it with what was the not unspoken, Forspoken. They did it with Forspoken.
Yeah.
Taint the studio. Like them people don't even exist anymore because of how much money they put behind it.
Yeah, like to be fair though, like game studios, they're going public killed game studios and gaming for like it just becoming IPO. Every time I hear a game studio saying, "Yeah, we're gonna go public," I don't trust them. Like for the most part, because like you mentioned, you got Forspoken from Square Enix that I still have it on my back. Like, it's not really on my backlog, but I have it that I want to play. But I've been waiting for like all that crap to die down so I can play it peacefully, so I can actually see if it was a good game or not. You got that. The studio that did what was it, Hi-Fi Rush? Like it was like #1 indie game of the year. That studio don't exist no more because they didn't make enough money. But they were the best indie studio that year, and they got killed. Ubisoft is, who knows what Ubisoft's doing right now? They're dying. Capcom is finally turning the corner, but they've been turning the corner by doing all these re-releases of the Mega Man collection, Marvel's Capcom. I mean, they've been dropping heat, but it's all been like based on like remasters and the new Street Fighters. So like,
and Naughty Dog's dying from the inside because of their like toxic, apparently their toxic work culture. And you can't just live off of The Last of Us. You can't.
Oh, don't you mean the remaster of The Last of Us 2 that came out like last year or this year?
It's gonna hurt, bro. It just is what it is. You gotta find new. That's why I like, again, like not to suck Baldur's Gate's dick, but like Larian Studios is fire. Like if you go back and look at their output of games, mind you, a lot of them are like tabletop inspired, like Divinity and everything else like that. But it's like,
yeah,
that's fire.
They're reliable.
Yeah, you can trust that. That's a what did Denzel Washington say in American Gangster? That's a brand name. I stand by it. I can guarantee it. You can guarantee from Larian, you're going to get something good, bro. Period. Even if you don't like the whole game, you're gonna find something that you like. Whether it's you spending 2.5 hours in the character creator, or it's an open, like a semi-open world type thing, and it's like you can just get lost exploring the lore and finding out about how this place got here, who these people are. You can do that. Take-Two Interactive, they're dying. That's the people who put out 2K. And it's like 2K's terrible. Madden's terrible. They're damn near about to lose the NFL license because of how bad they've handled like simulation football for the better part of a decade and a half at this point.
Yeah.
It's like
So one thing I do want to add, when it comes to like some of those movies where they put a huge budget into it and it flops, or games like specifically Forspoken, I'm I wonder if it's going to come around later on, like years from now, where all of a sudden something ends up happening where it just resonates with people. Because that's kind of what happened with like some movies like Fight Club. Like originally when it came out in theaters, absolute flop. But it was right around the time of 9/11 that all of a sudden they just kind of picked up and everyone was just like, this is the best movie ever. What happened? How did we miss this? You know?
Into the Spider-Verse. When that like that movie, they didn't spend a lot of money making the movie initially, so like they technically made money, but like it did like it was not the second movie. It wasn't like everyone was going to see that movie. It was considered a niche movie at first, but like it was such a good movie that people were just like, the people that saw this niche movie, like, you gotta see this movie. It was I think it was the Blu-ray sales that made them like double back to be like, all right, we're gonna do this, we're gonna keep going with this. So now we're waiting for the third one.
Yeah.
Everyone knew it was supposed to come out like last year, but like, nah, take your time, craft it. And I think for me, whether it's movies and especially like movies or games, and especially games for me, I think like you could tell the games that are the actual art are the ones that are like making the money. Like Final Fantasy was kind of, with the exception of Final Fantasy 14 Online, 15 was shaky. They had to keep doing the DLC crap to make money. But 16 was a single-handed, they were like, yeah, it was on PS5, so it like slowly built up. But that game, you could tell they put a lot of love into that game. Like, regardless of whatever you thought about turn-based versus action or whatever, you could tell like everyone who put time into that game loved what they were doing, and you could tell in the work to the point where it's like one of the best-selling games of that year. So it's like, and that's with the people with limited PS5. So it's like, and now the PC release came out this year, and it's
going to skyrocket.
It did well. So it's like,
because we talked about movies and video games. A thing that happened, where that happened at, it happens in music all the time as well. Like Jay-Z's first album, Reasonable Doubt, when it came out, nobody gave a fuck about that album. Like, again, go back and look at the reviews initially when that album came out. It wasn't viewed as a classic. It was barely even viewed as listenable to a lot of people at that time. They're like, what is he talking about? This weird mafioso thing that he's trying to, this weird drug dealing, da 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 da. And then it wasn't until afterwards, like a year later, that people looked back and was like, hold on, this is a thing. Like, this is fire. Like, but again, that happens a lot of times as to where it's like, I don't really trust public consensus oftentimes. I typically look into the connoisseurs of whatever discipline that I'm observing first.
Yeah, I agree. I have like my trusted sources.
Yeah.
If I want to listen to something, and even then I've got to feel it for myself. Because again, this is why I haven't touched Forspoken. I'm waiting for that. And then when I have like a gap of time in some of my games, I'm gonna sit down, play it, see if it's good or bad, and enjoy it. Because I, especially with some people, can't be trusting them. Because like, especially when you got people from like IGN just saying stuff like, "Oh, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is just Persona 5." It's the same company, you idiot. like when
Same
people
umbrella.
like people don't even know what they're talking about. I'm just like, you know what? I know what I like. And it's the stuff that you can tell that people actually sat down and cared about it. It's like, no offense, it's why Nintendo has some of the, like, as much as people have this back and forth about price or whatever with Nintendo is consistent because the people that have been working there have been there for like 25 plus years. Yeah. And when they do get new people, they're there for like 10 years. Like they don't run like a stereotypical, publisher here in the West, like Ubisoft or something. So it's like, what do y'all like? Get back to just making the games quality. Like with Take-Two, I always said, I think it was after like 2K14 or whatever, I was just like, these games cannot come out every year. It should,
No.
like they should just have it
Mhm.
every 2 years, so that way they can do like a roster update in the middle of the game cycle. So the odd number year, I figured evens out would be easy. So like 2K14 comes out. There shouldn't have been a 2K15. It should have just been 2K14 gets updated, new rosters, maybe you tweak some stuff here and there, and then 2K16 is the new game where you can actually add something new and redevelop something that's not great or something that needs tweaked. Like that
Mhm.
game should not be coming out every year.
Not at all. Like the live, I feel like live service games as a whole are like a money pit. Like you can't. It's a great idea. Y'all aren't good enough to execute it though. And the
Yeah,
reason that I say you're not good enough is because you're too money hungry for it. The one
Mhm.
Ubisoft game that I consistently play is because I think that is Ubisoft Division 2. Um,
I'll check. I don't recall, but
and I think that's them, if I remember correctly. But that's another like live service game.
yeah, that's Ubisoft. Yep.
Yeah, and they have their weekly updates, and I know it every single time. Don't get on the game late at night on Tuesday because that's when the updates start happening. They kick people off the servers and everything, and it's cool. They have like a running story that they do. They have seasons, they have themes, and they don't do too much, and that's what I like. Like, don't try and overcommit to anything whatsoever because y'all can't do it. You're too focused on the profitability of something. And when you
Mhm.
get too focused on that, that's when the fallout starts to happen because you're so focused on making money that you don't even care about the quality at that point anymore. And it's like
Yeah.
that's dangerous.
Well, like, and this is gonna sound semi-boomerish, but like, growing up, games like, regardless of DLC options to fix bugs or whatever, games were more organic. Like, we had a more organic life with a game. Like PS2 era, how many people you knew had San Andreas? Dang near everybody. But it wasn't like people were out here like, you know, gotta get the San Andreas update or whatever. It was like, no, it was just everyone liked GTA. San Andreas was a dope story in and of itself. And people played that well into, PS3 and so on, just because San Andreas was a great game. Like, and I could pick any of these out of the hat. Like, the fact that everything is like trying to make everything a live service killed them because one, because y'all are just firing these publishers left and right, y'all have no one who knows the goods and bads of these things. No one's been there long enough to know what works, what doesn't work, what's a good idea, what's not a good idea. It's that movie was Idiocracy. Like y'all are just
Mhm.
letting capitalism over control everything. With like, no, games should. Yeah, there's gonna be some games that are money grabs, but games should be an art. Helldivers 2 is kind of they already retwisted their narrative because the money grubbing thing that Sony did was cut their servers, so like so that a lot of countries couldn't play it for various reasons. I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but like they kind of realized like let's let the developers of this game run their game, and like they kind of turned the wheel, and they're I think it was like 3 weeks ago where like they were at the highest player count they had seen since the game had released, and the game has been out for like a year. Like
So that to add on to that, that's what they used to do in the gaming industry. They would make sure that they put out a full, complete game. They might have some basic plans for, some DLC maybe if they wanted to or a sequel, but they were like, hey, if we don't have the budget or we don't have the time, that's fine. We are fully happy with what we put out as a piece of art. Um, and that was what caused people to buy into DLC was that, hey, they enjoyed that initial game that came out so much that they wanted more. So that's why they were willing to go and buy that. Now they've kind of switched it to where it's like, oh, hey, we're going to put part of a game out, and then you can kind of buy the pieces to eventually feel like you got a full game out of it. And that's why people are starting to get tired of it,
bro,
especially at the prices that they have them at right now.
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
like
They have I think it's Japan. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but in Japan in like these larger companies and things like that, like they literally have a role to where they like hire an American type person. And it's not for anything but the American culture, like that combative, like checking people, being confrontational, like telling the upper management, no, that's a bad idea. Um, I think it is Japan. It is Japan, because they are very like everybody's salarymen. They don't want to fuck up anything. They don't want to lose their jobs. They don't. So they have that. Like that's the American position. We need that, ironically enough, here in America to be the broker between the creatives and the shareholders. To be like, hey, shareholders, shut the fuck up. The creatives are creating right now, and you're gonna like it when they get done, and it's gonna make you money if it's quality. You trying to rush these people to put this out is gonna lose you money in the long end.
That and Ubisoft is like switching their Ubisoft and Gotham the Gotham Knights game. Which company was that? Was that Rocksteady?
Ooh,
I can't remember
the Arkham series.
Specifically the group that was doing the
I'll let you do it.
The Gotham Knights games. But
yeah, looking at
yeah,
let's see.
Yeah, like those companies, they keep switching their overall plan like every 6 months to the point where there's nothing cohesive coming out of those companies, and they're just throwing money on the drain. Heck, the Halo group literally just rebranded to be the Halo company, and I can't tell what their plan is other than, hey, we're just doing Halo now.
Yeah, there needs to be protection for ideas. Like there needs to be a protection for creatives to create. That's why I always will support that. Like I support that from like from a tattoo standpoint. I have to finish up my sleeve. I'm being a procrastinator. But it's very expensive to finish up my sleeve because the things that I want are very complicated. All the way up to like girls doing NSFW cosplays. I support the whole range of it. Do whatever you like. If it's great, I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna support it. I don't care. Spring knows, like my young lady knows, like my likes on Twitter. Don't look at my likes on Twitter because it can range from anything from religious debate to a young lady with her titties out cosplaying Bayonetta. Or it'll go to something else to where it's like Black Sands Entertainment. It's a black dude who's doing his own, he's essentially making an African anime.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that one.
Like stuff like that. Like I love that. Like create. Just create. I love seeing stuff like that. And the money will come, obviously. Like I know everybody has that weird thing to where it's like they don't want to be Van Gogh. I get it. Being a creative myself, like a writer and everything else like that, like you never want to die before seeing your art be widely accepted. I understand it. But that is the price that you pay when you are a creative, period. That may be what happens. And if that is what happens, let it be. Your kids and your grandkids can eat off of it. But just make quality. That's it. Like, that's all I care about. My bad.
No, I'm going to top it off. I'm going to top it off there. What is the hottest game of the last 2 weeks? It's a fighting game.
Yeah, the Dragon Ball joint.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Yep.
Yeah.
The last time they made a version of that particular series of the game, I think it was like Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which was like 15 years ago, something like that. But you could tell they were like, all right, let's make a new one, and we're gonna spend our time and we're gonna work this one out. Like, and they like you could tell that the developers like thought about every minutia to the game down to the ranked character selection, because Dragon Ball Z has power levels out of control, so they literally thought about how to balance teams without nerfing powers. Like you could tell these people sat down like, all right, well, we can't just let everyone play Whis and Beerus and like smash everybody because like I'm gonna throw UI Goku, Beerus, and Whis on a team, ha ha ha, auto win. No, you're probably only gonna pick 1.5 of those characters because you don't have enough points to pick everybody. Like you could tell they thought about that kind of stuff. It's just like these are the basic things you got to think about your game. Like people talk about how they hate turn-based games, but the hottest RPG right now, Metaphor ReFantasia, is a turn-based RPG, but it has all the styles of a Persona game without being Persona. So it's like y'all can work this stuff out. It's a matter of actually having a plan with your games. And the funny thing is, these companies that I've just mentioned for some of these games, they're the ones that stay steady And they're like, okay, we got an idea. We're going to work it. If something's wrong, we're going to have to tweak it. And we're just going to work it out and do what we do. And that's what some of these companies have to just pick your lane, stick to it, and make quality games in your lane.
Agreed. Take the long walk. Take the long walk. Take the long walk.
So, speaking of gaming industry, like, and this is gaming industry trends to the point where, like, we got idiots like Asmongold running his mouth. So, like, like, again, it's a bit of a hard sequitur in this conversation, but, like, ironically enough, your player base is representative of the players of the companies that follow them. Like, Asmongold is made his bones off World of Warcraft, and that's one of those games that gets really toxic and people just say shit. So life just mimics art in that regard. So
yeah,
you explain what happened, Caleb, because I don't even.
I'm gonna explain it in the most Caleb way possible. Asmongold is a filthy, disgusting white man. Period. End of sentence. His room is deplorable. He's disgusting. This is the same motherfucker that tried to go 30 days without taking a shower. And as he was documenting his journey of self-discovery, he tried to come out and tell impressionable youth, which is his target fan base, because no grown fucking adult, excuse me, I'm trying not to.
Isn't he like almost 40?
Yeah. He tried to come out and tell his impressionable audience that, showers and everything. I'm gonna talk every idiot I'm impersonating. Like at day 10, the body doesn't really get any more dirtier than it actually already is. Your body is self-cleaning. That's his words, not mine. He was like, at a certain point, it just plateaus. It plateaus. I know how crazy it sounds, but don't let them lie to you. Big soap companies want you to wash every day so they can stay in business. Like, this is the shit he's talking about. This is the same motherfucker who is so disgusting and does not drink water so much that his audience was like, you should try and like drink water. He's like, I haven't drank water since a kid. Kids need water. Grown men don't need water. They don't.
What's this man trying to do? Live off Mountain Dew and Doritos?
Literally. And I'm not lying.
I'm gonna drink my water while I say that.
He, from his own mouth, he said that his diet consists of what he gets from his local corner store every day. So he gets a big gulp, like a fucking hot dog, some chips, and some other bullshit, and he eats that. So when they asked him to drink some water, he got Fiji. I love Fiji. Fiji is one of my favorite waters. It's Fiji, Evian, stuff like that. Like I'm a water guy. When he tried to drink the water, he had a visceral reaction to drinking the water. Like he almost threw up. And they were like, oh, like what's going on? He's like, oh, this is disgusting. And he washed the water down with like Dr. Pepper or something like that. And they were like, the reason that water tastes bad for you, they were joking in the chat and everything, because I'm watching all this. They're like, the reason water tastes bad for you is because your mouth is disgusting. And they were joking, everybody's laughing. They took it as a troll until an actual dentist showed up in the chat and was like, that's literally what it is. You have so much built up bacteria in your mouth that you're not tasting water. You're tasting everything that the water's washing back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why water's disgusting for you. This deplorable, disgusting individual that I've just described to you recently came out and gave his incel views on Palestine. And him being a white, isolated, internationally ignorant, and culturally deaf individual was essentially talking about that they, for all intents and purposes, deserve to die and they deserve their culture to be eradicated because in his eyes, they are viewed as inferior, the Palestinians. So, of course, I'm not thinking anything of it because in my mind and in my heart, Twitch is pussy. They will let these white guys say whatever they want. They'll let these white guys do whatever they want for as long as they can get money from them.
At this point, it's not even just white guys. If you crazy and have tons of followers, because they all...
That's all that matters.
Hold on. I need to make a caveat because I don't like speaking out of my own mouth terribly. if you do crazy things and get numbers, you get to do whatever you want. Because I'm not going to say someone like, because Kai Cenat is crazy, but there's that other black kid that just goes to other countries and does seemingly, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
that does seemingly crazy stuff. But he seems to do it out of trying to learn a culture. He just does it in a wild way. So that's why I'm trying to be very careful with my words. If you act wild on Twitch and get numbers, they don't do nothing.
That's a fact. Because they let the ladies, they let the girls, they let the white girls do that. To where it's like, I remember there was a trend to where like women would be naked, but the camera would cut off right here.
Mhm.
And they would do shit like that and let them get away with it. But again, I didn't think anything of it. But Twitch banned them, and I was like, damn, like, oh, damn, there's something. You did something.
You
But
on some fresh and fit stuff if you actually got banned.
yeah, like
Right.
they got you up out of here. He lost certain sponsors, walked away from him, and then his apology, he literally tried to pull a nigga move, excuse my French, but was like, my bad. My bad, y'all. I was tripping. This isn't a direct quote, but the my bad is a direct quote. My bad. And then try to like walk that back. But it's like, no, the damage is already done. And you're
Mhm.
already like, I know I'm also into the astrology thing. In every election year, there is a heated element that's underlying here on the Western Hemisphere, astrology speaking. Because again, this stuff was set up by people who knew what was happening and they paid attention to that and gave credence to that. So every election year, it's extremely contentious across the board. Views clash, ideologies clash, every single time. And they were like, they're obviously the situation overseas is heavy, but you doing that at this point in this like engulf, this flaming that's happening, everybody's burning, like watch the party die, all this stuff is happening. I'm thinking like, oh, they're just gonna let it get off. But no, you're going to the shadow realm with Aiden Ross in there. They just banned academics because academics had Aiden Ross on his Twitch. Within the same week, they did this. But again, ass mouth gold. That's what we're called. That's what I'm calling you. Ass mouth gold. You are a deplorable human being. This is what you deserve. I don't care. You can't get out on me. Your fans can't get out on me because I'm with all the bullshit at all times. And I'm actually a person who believes and stands on what he stands on. Free Palestine. May those people know peace. May those people's culture be preserved. Period, point blank. We're not doing that. I'm not doing that. You speaking ill of those people is disgusting. And you got what you got. Best of
What you
luck on
got?
the bubble, my nigga.
What you got, Devin?
So I familiarized myself with the situation late this afternoon, evening, and one thing stood out. And thank you, Cal, for posting some of the stuff there with like the tweets about it and so on and so forth, because that gave me like a lot to work with immediately. But I just took down a quick note. The first thing that came to my mind when I heard about him going and saying that a culture is inferior. Uh, my thing is that you can like or dislike or disagree with any beliefs and cultures without treating them as lesser, like right off the bat. But saying something about a group where you're like, oh, hey, they're from an inferior culture, that fails on two different levels. The first is that it feeds into any hate and legitimizes any negative beliefs around your own culture there. So even if you thought that they were incorrect, you are doing the opposite thing if you're trying to convince them that, your way is the right way, even if it is or isn't, whatever. And the second is that's the exact same rhetoric that's been used to promote hate and genocide for centuries by several different groups and cultures. So all you're doing is just feeding right back into that and keeping that going. You're not trying to go and say like, oh, hey, well, let's, stop all this genocide and hate and let's get along. No, you're perpetuating it.
Mm.
So congratulations, you've done the exact opposite of what you were trying to achieve.
Mm. That's a
Yeah.
fact.
No, it's a fact. And what, like, for me, my thing is, there's a potential in every human life. What you do with that potential is your life. It's 100% on you. But to constantly disregard particular cultures is just it's just stupid. And every major study shows it's just a fallacy. Like, regardless of what context you put it in, accepting more cultures actually makes your culture better, because you actually perpetuate goodness. But like at the same time, it's a matter of understanding. Like, you actually elevate yourself by understanding other things. Like, no matter how many people want to be racist towards us as black people, just the mere fact that a black person created open heart surgery has saved more white lives, especially here in America, than will ever be accepted by racist white people. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The fact that a black person created the traffic light as we know it here and now today, it saved countless lives. Like, heck, like, it's a meme at this point, but white people traveled around the world for spices that they don't use. Like, I'm just, it's at a point where, like, melding cultures, or at least just learning to accept and understand the beauty of someone else's culture, it's a strength. It's not a weakness. And to constantly downplay and call people inferior and perpetuate hate just makes you the bigot. Like, it just makes you the weaker person. This is why, like, no matter what people tend to do, we should, especially we as black people, we just keep elevating, because we, at this point, you've done everything. Like, what haven't we seen? What what haven't we seen? What haven't we fought past? What haven't we risen above? Like, you, y'all might as well just learn to love, because the bigotry isn't working on anybody.
No.
Mhm.
And I'm a very, obviously with my temperament, I'm a big X-Men fan. I know that doesn't seem connected, but although I understand and I respect Charles Xavier, I am a Magneto supporter to the fullest. To the fullest. Because I know what I've been through. I know what my people have been through. I know what my family, when I say my people, I'm talking about my family specifically. We're just going to be very isolated with it. I know what it feels like to be that black guy in a situation. You see what I'm saying? Like, you being in places or institutions of higher learning, and they look down on you. They want you to be twice as good as everybody else, just to be viewed as a person. Fuck good enough for the job. A person.
Mhm.
Period. The job shit comes later once you outperform them. That's when it's like, oh wow, Devin's actually qualified. No shit. I've been overqualified since middle school. And that also, to the second point, people like to talk about, we typically in the black community, we talk about code switching. And I would say obviously, yes, because that is a method of survival. We as black people, people of color, travel the world before they did. Period. So when you go across the world to other cultures and you're there as just a human experiencing experiences, you respect other people's culture. You observe enough to realize what's going on, and you replicate it so that people can feel comfortable, so that you can operate seamlessly within the culture. You're not trying to usurp the culture that you're in. You're just simply observing and moving around. That. And when
See,
you're an individual, last bar, Jason, when you're an individual who's used to being seen and catered to and told that you're a god from a very early, from a child, because think about the iconography. Everything within a young white child's life, everybody of power, prestige, and prominence is white. Jesus is white. Every president you saw was white. The CEO is white. The main character of your favorite sitcom is white. The main character of your video game is white. You still, like, you're just, that's what you're used to. You're just used to seeing white as the default and the protagonist. You don't know the wider scope of things. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't know how Hispanics feel. You don't know how Arab individuals feel. You don't know how Native Americans feel, whatever their tribe, whatever their creed or their conduct may be. You see what I'm saying? You don't know how Asians feel. You see what I'm, like, you're not even able to wrap your mind around other white people from different hemispheres. You see what I'm saying? You don't understand what the Russian person is dealing with, unless they're a white supremacist. That's where you guys can draw that connectivity. But it's like, you don't know. You're just used to being the protagonist. Like, that's it. That's all you know. I should be able to dominate here. I'm a white guy. I should be able to come into hip hop and tell Jay-Z, who's been here for 20 years, commentating on hip hop, he doesn't know shit. I should be able to do that. No, that's not how that works. But again, that main character syndrome gonna kill y'all every time. And I'm here to watch.
With the popcorn, extra butter. But no, but you're right. And this is why I always used to tell people, if I had to make a choice between true ignorance and ignorance that you choose to ignore, I'll take true ignorance every time, because someone who's truly ignorant of something, there's an opportunity to teach them and get them out of that habit. Unfortunately, here in America, too many people have been trained to ignore the people that are below them, the minority. Like, they're just trained to ignore the struggle that someone else goes through. So it's like, in return, you can't break someone out of that. That's why we have, every neo-Nazi out here saying all this nonsense, and it's just like, that's not life. That's not real. Y'all just want to maintain this power structure, one that you're not even really losing. Like
And
if you were to talk to
from, you don't really, if you're a poor white person, you don't benefit from this. You don't. The biggest benefiters from government assistance across the board are white people. Food stamps, white people. Subsidized, white people. All of this. Look at all of y'all who didn't like Obamacare, but you like the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare. Look at how you benefited under that.
And we can even take that away from like actual constructs, just the concept of masculinity. The people who don't benefit from that, men. Like, the literal concept of masculinity does not benefit men, but people don't understand this.
Yeah, that patriarchy. Again, I like to watch y'all fail. That's why I laugh at these numbers to where it's like marriage is going down, the reproduction is going down. You've seen the statistics and the numbers to where it's like by 2050, white people will be a minority, and that's why they're talking about like we're the great erasure. We're being erased from society. Why? I thought being a minority was just a numbers thing. So minorities are treated badly? Is that what you're saying?
Going back to the beginning of this whole thing, when I'm like, their own logic kills what they say.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. It's the same thing. I was just joking with my lady about this. Like, I have people on YouTube that I listen to because they're dumb, and I'm watching to see how long it takes them to connect the dots. And it's like a celebrity that I do that with is Terrence Howard. To where it's like, I'm like, you're an idiot. I just want to see how long it takes, because I understand. I've been there. I enjoy drinking, obviously. I had a background history of like doing drugs, college is wild. Whoop de whoop. And I understand like what's happening in your mind when you're high. And then once you start to sober up, and then the sober kicks, and you're like, oh, I've been being stupid this whole time. And it's like, yeah, thank you for coming back. This man said 1 × 1 = 2. Because we don't understand mathematics. My brother in Christ, on a fundamental level, do you understand how dumb that is?
Like, on a fundamental level, you don't understand mathematics.
So I saw that whole speech they did at like some school and everything about that whole thing. Watch it. And I literally just said, I took this bottle right here. You know what? Maybe I need to just stop.
Bro, no. The biggest fallacy I hate is when people who think that because they use their twisted logic, that they're smarter than people that have studied something their whole lives.
Yes.
How are you going to debate? It's the anti-vaxxers trying to debate actual people that have studied diseases. What was that dude's name? The guy that ran the CDC for like, I don't know, the last 20 years?
Fauci?
Yes. You're telling me that you in your living room decided to read an article one day and have an argument against a guy who's been doing this for longer than you've been born?
An article from Facebook. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is, because that's what a lot of these boomers be doing. They click a link from Facebook.
Facts. Terrence Howard, you studied mathematics for like what? Fake mathematics. I'm gonna give you 10 years on that. How old is Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah,
Like what?
exactly.
Almost 60. This man's been like part of NASA for like 40 years or some nonsense like that. Like this man has been doing astrophysics his whole life. No, like I get it. Like when people complain that he talks about scientific subjects that aren't necessarily his wheelhouse, but the same breath, this man is a man of science. He studies science his whole life. So even if his specialty is astrophysics, that's like me telling a doctor, hey, you don't understand the basics of blood pressure because you happen to be a gastroenterologist. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's a doctor. He spent his whole life doing this.
Yeah.
See, we live in a time now, and this is going to be my boomer moment here. But we live in a time where people don't take a moment to think critically about what they see and read. Just this week, I happened to see a video on YouTube where it was talking about how Elon Musk had just purchased Apple. And I'm like, you know what? I'll bite. Let me go ahead and take a look at this really quick. I watched about like 5-10 minutes of it, and I'm like, things don't quite add up. Let me do, I don't know, my own research here to find out. And within 2 minutes, I had already confirmed that, it was a complete lie. And then that's when I decided to look at the comments just out of curiosity. It was split. Half the people were like, oh, hey, this is fake. Here's the proof right here saying otherwise. And then was another half who didn't bother to look at all. They were just like, oh, hey, yeah, go, Elon, blah, 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 so on and so forth. We knew that this was coming, Apple is a corrupt company, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it took 2 minutes to go and find that this wasn't true. How are you falling for this?
Bro,
And this was like a 20-minute video. I'm like, what are we doing?
Bro, honestly, you said the key phrase that I think is killing our current era of information. Do your own research.
Yeah.
That phrase is killing us right now because people will do their quote unquote research and not understand the basic level of the thing they're researching on. Like, I think the strongest thing a human person can have is one, the ability to think critically, but to think critically and say, you know what, I don't know. Like, that fundamentally to me, I think everyone should shut up, stop acting like internet like savants and just be like, look, honestly, I don't know if it's true. I'll look into it. I'll try to find out more. But I think that in and of itself defines someone from being wise to your random freaking idiot. Because it's understandable if you fall for something on the internet. We get too much crap blasted in our face day by day. Like,
Right.
if you're on any social media site, you're probably seeing like 3 lies within 30 minutes. Like, it's understandable to fall for something.
Minutes, bro. You're seeing it within a couple of scrolls, within a couple of swipes. You're seeing it right there.
Facts. Like, I get it. It's hard to be able to weed it out, but fundamentally, if you go, people talking about what was it, the COVID vaccine doing some nonsense. I'm like, we haven't had long enough to figure it out, but we know the basics of vaccines. Like, at the end of the day, if you can say, look, I don't know, but we're looking into it, that should be like, all right, well, right now we don't know. And then, hey, if you decide on your own merit, like, look, we don't know enough about this, I'm not going to do it, but I know it's killing people, so I'm just going to keep my butt at home and not mess with nobody. That is your decision. Fair enough. Do you go on, be with God? But acting like, oh, vaccines cause autism. No, it don't. We've already disproven that 3 ways to Sunday before 1995. Like, get out of here. Like, this is like, there's certain things at this point. It's just like being able to fundamentally say, I don't know what I don't know, is that in and of itself is a godsend.
As you said when you were talking previously about the Terrence Howard situation, where you said Neil deGrasse Tyson is a man of science, like, period. He is a man of science. It's years into that. Like, I like video games and everything else like that. Don't get me wrong. I am a man of hip hop by that definition. Like, I'm somebody who can, like, it's so bad. I can predict where your punchline is going by your setup. It's stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Like that's how entrenched in it I understand. Like it's a very like it's a magic that's happening. And that's why I enjoy, you know what I'm saying? Like magic, like caster stuff, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I enjoy the iconography of Doctor Strange. Because it's by the time you see somebody doing this, rush them. If it's Doctor Strange, by the time you see somebody, rush him, go get him. He's trying to get out of here. Like it's stuff like that. To where it's like, um, I don't know, I can listen to somebody rapping because I break it down like on a mathematic level. Because typically you have to indoctrinate someone into your thought when you're doing music, right? Hip hop is very different because you have to indoctrinate someone into a stanza. You have to do it very quickly and you have to get it and present it to them in a digestible way. With that being said, you could say like, look at the Irish, I got dumb luck, bumta, dun dun, gun butt. And then it's like, I'm so used to taking out the trash. What's the punchline? I understand that the punchline is something dump truck. That's where my brain, because I'm listening to what's the rhyme scheme, what is the context, what is the derivative of this? Where are you trying to get? I look at where you're trying to get and then follow you from the start and see like that. You see what I'm saying? So like a lot of people aren't. That's why battle rap is so interesting to me because you see who actually can rap and then who is just prepared to be a battle rapper because that's different. Period. That's like seeing someone who knows medicine versus someone who knows about calcium. Like, it's like, oh, like we understand all of this. And then you let the motherfucker speak long enough. It's like, bitch, you just know about bananas. Like you don't know about all of this. Like you know about bananas and how potassium can affect the body. You didn't zoom out and look at like, why does the body require that? Where is the deficiency? What happens when you overdo it? What happened? Like that's the issue. And like we're like right now we're in a society as to where it's like y'all don't like specialists because it makes you feel inferior. I don't mind learning from people because again, that's part of the journey. I'm
And
like, go ahead, my bad.
no, good. And the thing is, like, especially if you're like working with a doctor, like, you should be able to ask a question, but then like, what people have been hit by the Amazon effect. You want something, you get something. You want the answer, you get the answer. When sometimes the answer should just be, I don't know. We're gonna have to look into it. We're gonna have to do this, this, and this to figure it out. Like that's why medicine isn't. It's not a. That's why people say being a doctor it's an art. It's not a science because dealing with the human body is complex. There's an art to it. Yeah, you've got some things you can figure out. There's different options. It's like one of those like Goosebumps books where like, yeah, we got to go to page 3 to figure it out, but maybe this part will take us to page 79 instead. Like, you got to take it step by step. And to kind of double back on what you said, you're a man like using a man of science or I'm a man of gaming. Like I understand the industry because I've felt into it so much, but more specifically, I've come to realize for me, it's more about like I'm a man of storytelling. Like I can pretty much figure out most stories for the most part by the intro or how it's presented. My point is, one stories I hate are like I used to call. There's a term called manime where it's like overly man forever fight friendship. Like I don't like Attack on Titan because I figured out where the story was gonna go after the first like 40 chapters. Like I know people love Attack on Titan. There's a few twists I probably don't know specifically because I stopped reading it, but like but I knew by the end that I guess that either the main character or the best friend from the very beginning was gonna cause the end of the story. Like I knew from the beginning exactly how it was gonna end, and when it ended that way, I was like, well, I was right. And it kills it for me because to me, at the end of the day, if I could easily guess that story without like a within a satisfying way, to me, at the end of the day, all it is just you're just playing on the zeitgeist of the current day, and it's not, the story is just about being edgy rather than telling, a reasonable story. Like, it didn't necessarily have to be good or bad, but like for me, there's no actual storytelling there. It's just a matter of it's just edgy. Like, we just did this for almost like doing it for the clicks. Like,
Yeah. And that's why I am not a One Piece person. Because being like a man of hip hop, just a quick little segue. Like the term hip hop is rooted in, again, like, Black people are great with saying something in a quick way that means a lot of things. So like hip hop is where it rooted from was conscious movement. So the hip is I understand. I'm aware of what's going on. I'm hip to what's going on. And hop is movement. It's conscious movement. I understand what's moving. And I understand how to move, and I can understand and observe how you're moving. That's why One Piece for me was like, no, because all that is word salad. I get it. People like it. You're taking a very long time to tell a very simple story. And y'all are going to be very fucking mad when you realize that this is the friends we made along the way type shit.
I knew you were going to go and say that.
but it's not just the friends
but
we
it's
made
true.
it's not just the friends we made along the way. It's how satisfying is it? Because in the same breath, Yu Hakusho is the friends we made along the way. The Rurouni Kenshin, Naruto, pick a shonen. Most of the time, it boils down to the friends we made along the way. But is it truly?
No. I can't let you do that with you. No, I can't let
most of the time.
Yeah, don't do that with you though. Most of the time, yes, I agree with you. That nigga died in the first episode. This man was a selfish, hedonistic fuckwad. He had to die, realize what humility looked like, and at every turn and every juncture, he realized what power meant and the sacrifice that was behind power. That's different than just me, Jason, and Dev. We going
but that's my point. It only took a certain amount of chapters or a certain amount of time to tell a relatively concise story. Yes, the end is shaky due to the artist having his own issues. We get that. I'm not making that point. But he had a clear, concise idea of what he was trying to tell a story, and he got there within a certain period of time that didn't overly drag on.
Yeah.
Without talking about the anime industry and the manga industry, because that's a topic for another day, One Piece gets away with that each particular arc has its own contained story that people find satisfying. But when you look at it as a whole, you basically get, it's like watching a random drama show or a soap opera. Here's my section, here's the story of this section, we have a conclusion, all right, on to the next section, we'll just keep moving. Like, that's what it feels like to me, and there is merit to it, but at a certain point, the juice, there's no more juice to squeeze. Like, get to the point. What is this about?
Exactly. That was the video. We can talk about it on another episode. But like the whole flat earther thing, to where it's like somebody was like, the Earth rotates at XYZ 1,000 miles per hour, right? And like in your brain, it sounds crazy because you don't drive above 85 miles per hour often. You see what I'm saying? So in your brain, a couple 1,000 miles per hour is like, why aren't we falling off then? But it's like the mass of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, this thing is massive, my nigga. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's massive in 1,000 miles an hour in a Fiat or whatever the case may be, whatever car you can imagine, a Corvette, whatever. That looks different on a linear plane than something massive doing that same speed. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's where the One Piece thing happens, to where it's like those arcs that you're talking about, Jay-Zo. It's like, yeah, it's happening right here, and it's a lot, and it's very quick, it's heavy, it's emotionally like taxing. But when you zoom out, it's like, we have made no fucking progress on a large scale. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not even moving in a way to where it moves the main plot line forward. You're
any deep dives, Devin?
So, kind of talking about specialties and things of that nature, and then eventually getting to One Piece. you know me. When I originally started school, I was a pre-med major. I am a lover of systems. So when I look at the human body, I see that as a giant system that has a bunch of moving parts. And while, yes, there are small things that kind of change how things are going to react, for the most part, you can kind of predict how things are going to happen. So that example where you're talking about, like, oh, hey, how much potassium is going, uh, someone needs to go and take, how much is going to affect different things, so on and so forth. I like seeing those kind of interactions and seeing how it all works as one giant system. When I went and moved into international affairs, I see culture almost like the same thing, like a body, like a living organism. You know, you can go down to the smaller parts and see, you know, the different things that happen. But for the most part, if you look at like a society or a culture as a whole, you're going to see a lot of commonality and you can kind of predict where it's going to go. When we're talking about One Piece or just stories in general, let's go to that and everything. You can kind of see where some of the story beats are going. And if you follow it, you kind of know where it's going to land for the most part. One Piece, the way I end up looking at it, if you look at each of the individual arcs and so on and so forth, just as an arc itself, it functions similar to, like, you know, a system, a body. It has certain parts that you can follow and you can kind of figure it all out. When you zoom it out, like you were kind of describing right there, it seems like absolute chaos. Like, what is going on? It's not moving anywhere. You know, the different arcs, sometimes they might match together, and then all of a sudden you'll see a message that's going complete opposite of what, you know, they were trying to go and say before. It does not work as a system for some reason. I'll admit that I haven't watched every arc, you know, and watched every single episode back to back because that is a trek at this point, and I do not have that kind of time. But I have gone in and watched different arcs. And I'm like, okay, I can enjoy this as an arc, but as an entire story, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. So I think it has a problem of it works at a smaller scale, but once you zoom it out, it just kind of starts to fall apart. It's gotten too big to hold itself up.
Yeah.
And this goes into my current theory of anime that we can save for another episode. But I fundamentally think that the concept of arcs is killing anime creativity. But again, that's another episode. All right. So, Devin, you got any other deep dives before we wrap this thing up?
Oh, so I did want to kind of cover something with D&D here. So for anyone who does play D&D, or for people who haven't, they recently came out with an update for D&D for 2024. Yeah, the new handbook. So they made a lot of changes to the classes. Some of them are really good, and I absolutely love the idea. Druids, look, from what I've read, absolutely love it. You know, you're going to have a great time. Rangers, I'm sorry, it's going to be another few years of everything kind of sucks. Like, sucks to suck.
They can never make Rangers good.
Yeah, look.
My bad.
Look, it is for people who really like Rangers, it is the running joke that people who play Rangers will never get. But clerics and warlocks, the two classes that are known for, like, at the very beginning, like first level, they know exactly what they're about. For clerics, they know what god they're following, they know about their god. Throughout their growth, they're probably going to learn more about their deity and so on and so forth and get more powers, but they at least know who they signed up with. Warlocks, you made a pact with some being, you know, whether it's a devil or a fae spirit or, you know, some lesser deity, whatever it may be. You know, you made a deal, you know, and then as you kind of move along, you're gaining more power in exchange. You might be trading some stuff off. Tell me how, with the new handbook, they just said, no, you don't know any of that stuff until level 3. You mean to tell me you couldn't get a lawyer in there to go and read your contract beforehand, before you sign up to go and say, look, I'm just going to get these powers and I'll figure it out later?
Nope.
You mean to tell me... Oh, good.
Nah, you're Ariel from The Little Mermaid now. I'm not going to read the contract.
Fuck it.
Man,
Fuck it.
tell me how clear... So clerics can use magic powers from their deity and not even know who they're even talking to. Like, look, I don't know where I got this today, but hey, I can heal people now. Oh, hey, I'm going to bless you in the name of. Hey, look, give me like a few weeks. I'll let you know who it is, but I'll figure it out. Or, oh, hey, I'm a warlock. Look, I don't know who I'm burning my soul to at this moment, but look, I just need some stuff. We'll figure out the details later. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that was not a good look.
That's why I didn't like I don't respectfully. That's why I don't like Will.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't bitch.
Oh, is this Kalo's final rant for today?
Bitch, I understand. I understand. I understand. Your whole situation, you see what I'm saying? Your whole area code's going crazy. I get it. You're getting fucked up. You need some help. Blah, blah, blah. I get it. Trust me. I get it. Bitch, you signed a contract with a demon and thought it was cool? You had no type of apprehension as to where it's like, I can't trust this bitch. You just thought you could trust it?
You didn't read the fine print?
You didn't read any of the print.
Fine print, Devin. It's the basics. It's the basics of knowing what a demon is.
He downloaded.
Go ahead.
He downloaded and installed the program and just hit install now. He didn't actually scroll through the terms and conditions. He just hit install now.
It's not. It's not even so hard, bro. It's not even that. Like, oh, you didn't read the fine print. This is a demon, right?
Mm.
Somebody who can, on a spiritual plane, they're able to lie to you. Demons are essentially like cops when it comes to that, but we'll talk about that later. That's a different thing. But they are allowed to lie to you to get some shit off. You believe this motherfucker when they can tell you, you do this and we'll get you as a contract. You do this, we can get you as a contract. And then you do it, you don't get out the contract. And then, oh, but you could do this, and you don't get out the contract. Bitch, why are you still believing them? What's going on? I don't understand. I'm not saying I shit on. I'm not shitting on sorcerers and casters like that who have packs. We're not doing that because sometimes that shit can be pretty dope. It can be pretty dope. I'm playing a paladin on my third go through. That's a pact. It is. You're worshiping. And if you play stupid with your God, he can get cut off. I get it. But at least I know my motherfucking God, nigga. What are you doing? This bitch got horns and ugly wings. Why are you trusting this bitch? It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know real quick. I don't know what Wizards was thinking when they made that change. It doesn't make sense. But again, going to the whole money and companies and Wizards, again, that's a conversation for another day. But they just need to get something out because what people were making was better than what they could do. Go ahead, Devin.
So, two quick things. One, for any fans of D&D, yes, I know there is a difference between a devil and a demon. We're not trying to get into that. We're trying to go and keep it simple for the people who don't know D&D like that. That said, look, I like playing warlocks, and I'm telling you, if I was in the situation like with Will, well, yes, I would end up taking that deal. Look, I'm like, all right, what else am I getting out of this one? Because Zora, I mean, look, hit me out.
Give me that hell pussy. Give me that hell pussy.
I can't.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well,
I can't. But at least he knows what he's getting into. But
yes, I know exactly what I'm signing up for, though. I'm gonna read all the details of my contract. Like, all right, cool. Add this extra line in here really quick.
I just don't. I don't like that. And to your point as well, y'all are some bitch ass motherfuckers with that counterspell shit. I'm also going to do this. Fuck you. That's what I'm gonna do. Fuck you. Because at the end of the day, the audacity and the unmitigated gall and temerity of you motherfuckers to make us do this type of role and everything else like that. Oh, but you didn't make the wall. The wall didn't hit, and the wall did. Hey,
What is
hey,
his voice?
hey! Stop it! Stop it! Like that's the thing. I'm not trying to extend the episode too long, so I'm sorry.
Oh, we cooking. It's fine.
This is the shit that be pissing me off about that, like Harry Potter lore as well. To where it's like, bitch, you a wizard, but you can't do shit without your wand. Fuck out of here. You ain't no fucking wizard. Like that's where this, like, it aggravates me on like a fundamental level. Counterspell is no. Magically. It's just that. You see how I waved my hand and I said no? That's that. So you being like, no,
Maybe.
Possibly.
inspiration if needed. Maybe. So I can waste a spell slot. I can do it in a timely manner, but it also may not work. Bitch, kill yourself. I'm so sick of niggas being nice with this shit. Stop it. Stop it. This is wrong. This is wrong.
Stop it. Get some help.
Get some help. Some help. I don't like this. It makes no sense, bro. Like, what are we gonna do next? What are we gonna do next? Are we gonna remove Wish?
I
think they tweaked
mean,
it. I think they adjusted Wish anyway. So
No, I'm saying remove it because that's essentially that. Like you
Hmm.
just being like, I wish I could be powerful.
maybe.
I wish I could do that. Bro,
all right. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate right there for that one.
no.
As someone who has thoroughly abused Wish, I think you know what?
That
I
one
don't think
needs-
I would, be mad if they took it away. Like, you know what? All right, that's cool. I get it. Give me something else to work with there because look, I've literally turned some of my wizards into literal gods a few times with the abuse of that.
How often do they do that? Like when I say that, I mean like take something away and then replace it with something that can actually fill it, respectively. Like how
I
often
mean,
does that happen?
switching from 3.5 to 4.4e, from 4e to 5e, because 4e everyone can be a god except Rangers.
I mean, facts. Rangers have not seen the light of day since like 3.5. Like before, they were like, "Oh man, they were great. They could do it all," and then all of a sudden, they were just like, "Nah, we got to nerf this real quick."
Bitch, you're a homeless woodchucker. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I don't understand.
Ranger? Nah, you don't need to be a ranger. Just be a rogue. Rogues do it better anyway.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I feel like that's wrong. I feel like that's wrong. I don't like what they're putting down respectfully with counterspell because counter again, I'm one of those boomer. If they take away counterspell, what's next? What's it gonna be? Misty Step? You're gonna say, yeah, you can teleport 30 feet, but you can't choose where you teleport. It's just 30 feet. It's like, okay, like that's where we're getting to. Because at the end of the day, why would you do this? Why would you do this?
So the real answer is going to take a whole episode, but it's fundamentally that the people that run Wizards of the Coast and D&D, for the most part, a lot of them aren't tuned in with D&D anymore. So that's going to be
Yeah,
a whole bucket. Just take that whole conversation and put it to the side because that's the real answer.
I don't
The
like
fake answer is that they want to balance the game, but that goes back into the real answer bucket. So there's no fake answer. It's just they don't know what they're doing because the people that like love D&D aren't involved in adjusting D&D, which is why like 5 people are making their own games. But yeah, great combo as always. All any last tidbits you want to add, Devin, Caleb?
I'm pretty much good. I covered everything I wanted to cover today, but I can't wait until our next episode.
Y'all need to hire Matt Mercer and my man's. I forget my man's from D20.
Oh, The guy from D20 is making his own game called D20. Like,
no, I get it, but like if you want to survive, like you have to like play with people. That sounds crazy. Pause. No dude.
I was about to go and say, I'm going to give
yo.
you 5 seconds.
That was crazy. You have to interact with individuals who are on the ground level when it comes to the application of the game. You see what I'm saying? Like Matt is very, again, pause if necessary, very flexible when it comes to his interpretation and his application. Shut up, Devin.
Well, see, if you hadn't said something before it, then I wouldn't even thought of it. But since you said, like, pause beforehand, I'm like, well, now I'm already mentally prepped.
Hey, yo.
He's a great DM when it comes to balancing the rule of cool versus what's actually there. You see what I'm saying? Um, and I'm so mad I can't remember that man's name right now from D20. I'm so mad. But he's great at introducing peril that makes you pay attention to what you have and how you can actually work it. Like that, those two energies need to be there. You see what I'm saying? Like that would make this work better. And this is something that I enjoy, and I was recently indoctrinated into it 4 years ago. Um, and it's like I'm not as invested as a bunch of other people who don't have podcasts, and I feel like I speak for them. Like, bro, preserve the sanctity of the game and creativity and application of skill. Like that's messed up, bro.
Ironically, that's not even true in just D&D. That's just true in life and kind of encapsulates this whole conversation. Respect the sanctity of the skill and the people that do this, like in general. Creativity.
Magical word.
But yeah, speaking of magic words, as we wrap this up, as usual in my love of language, I'm gonna wrap this up with 2 quotes today. We're gonna hit this with a double banker since it's a 2-hour podcast. So the first one, yeah, we were cooking. So the first one's gonna kind of encapsulate our conversation of the of information, how it's used. I took this quote from FD Signifier. I was watching one of his clips recently. Check out his YouTube channel if you haven't. He does great stuff. But his quote is, they don't believe in misinformation because it's true. They believe in it because it's their truth. And this kind of encapsulates the Asmongold conversation. It's his truth that he believes that other people can be inferior, but that's not the literal truth. And my second quote is actually a quote I've said for years, ever since I became an adult, but it kind of encapsulates the rest of our conversation with how people treat just information and then how they treat things in general. When everything's a joke, nothing is serious. It sounds true, but in the culture we live in, we crack the joke so quickly that we don't take the seriousness in some things, and that just pivots us into the wrong direction far too easily. And I think, again, whether we talk about the gaming situations, nostalgia, how companies reuse this stuff, it's like they hit the quick thing. They just jump on the first thing for the instant gratification. But if you take something seriously, you're in it for the long haul. And it doesn't matter what whatever it is, whatever hobby, what you specialize in. If you take it seriously, you sit down, you invest, you envelop yourself in it, and you encapsulate it as part of who you are. Neil deGrasse Tyson is Neil deGrasse Tyson because, yes, he's a black man, he's a scientist, but he's also an astrophysicist. Those are all inherently part of him, and that encapsulates who he is. So he's in those rooms, he's doing those experiments. That is part of who he is. Caleb, to my right here, is a man of hip hop. He envelops himself into it. Like Devin loves systems. Like he loves figuring things out, breaking it down, and finding the exploits. That's part of who we are. Those things, when you're serious about them, you don't make the quick joke because you literally make light of the thing you find serious, which is why another conversation for another day, but this is why comedy is in such a precarious part, because you can't always make light of something that's serious. And I think that's kind of where I want to end off this conversation today, because at the end of the day, Like, this is my personal quote: if nothing can be serious, everything is a joke. It works both ways. So at the end of the day, I just encourage people to stop, take a moment. If you don't know something, don't be ashamed to not know it, because that gives you the opportunity to learn it. And on that note, I've been your boy John, also known as Jzo. I got
Dev right here.
and at the
It's
end,
pal. I'm disrespectful.
that's Caleb, Mr. Disrespectful. It's been another one. Peace.